Thanks, Steve.
Morning, all.
Morning.
Hello, Jerry.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, fine.
I like Scott's photo.
Hey, Judy.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, all.
Hey, yeah, done. Hi, Jennifer. Oh, we have a question. Jennifer or Jerry, if you have used or an empty canister of propane,
Mhm.
does the city pick it up? Because some cities do apparently, and I was curious. if
I
you
don't
had-
think so.
Okay.
I'll check with Karen though in Public Works.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll email you
Yeah.
later.
Okay.
We got one of those outdoor heaters out, like they
Oh,
have,
mhm.
because we have dinner with friends on the deck and we're
Oh,
running
nice.
out of warm nights. How are you, Marilyn?
You're on mute. You're on mute, Marilyn.
Oh. Yeah. You
Ooh,
see on the
button.
lower left?
Okay,
Hey.
I'm okay.
How are you?
Good. Looks like you're busy.
Yeah, how about you? Is yours out?
I still don't have the book, but I'm having an interview this Friday with Nancy Kranz.
Oh,
Oh.
yay. Good.
So we'll see
Good.
how that works out. It's
Oh,
just
she's
great.
fun and,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've
Wonderful.
known her forever. Well, I think I've known everybody forever, but she goes all the way back
John,
to when?
Morning.
1980s.
good morning.
Hey, John. Yeah.
Good.
No, she's great. She's a community treasure. Yeah.
Right.
Hi, Katie.
Boy, no kidding. No
Oh,
kidding. They have thrown so much into the arts community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just the mainstream stuff that you would expect, but like housing for artists and infrastructure for artists. Kranzbergs are amazing.
Well, the whole Grand L Square is theirs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And not just them. They're doing little things in South St. Louis. And,
Right.
you know,
And they contributed to Barbary Park,
Yes.
Good.
Right.
to the sculpture.
Mhm.
We do have a quorum. I think Lauren's the only one
What
that I
about
might be expecting that isn't here.
Okay, so
oh,
or
there
should
you
we, should we go ahead and get rolling then? Are we
Yeah,
Yep.
I think so.
good? All right. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see Scott Davis on here. Scott, I don't know if you're actually with us there.
He
Is
is. He should be.
He's here. Okay. So I guess let's just, Jennifer, you got the roll
Yeah.
call already? Oh, there you are. Morning, Scott.
Morning, I
Um,
was just trying to make
morning.
coffee real quick.
So just, I think maybe really quickly, can we approve the minutes for previous meeting? Did everybody get a chance to read those?
I so moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, in favor?
I,
Any opposed? I guess hearing none. All right. So I guess at that point, we will launch right in to be respectful of Scott's time and discuss the subject of the location of Earth Rabbit. So where do we stand on this now?
Scott, do you think you could explain, this is the group that really wanted to move Earth Rabbit and Old School. Can you explain to them why that can't be done or why the problems were?
Sure. Did my memo happen to go out to them at all? No.
It did not, sorry.
No.
There are, the two pieces aren't the same size. They're not even really close to the same size. So when you go to look at moving Old School off of the pad it's on and moving it down to the pad on the further end, it is that pad, that center circle of that pad is only about 1 foot 6 inches, where Old School is, I'm sorry, I don't have the, it's got a 58-inch circumference, which is about 22 inches wider than the current circumference of the opening that's there. So we'd have to remove a bunch of the brickwork that is there, move Old School from pad A to pad B with the crane, reinstall footings, get a bricklayer to come back out and relay all those bricks and recut those bricks to form them back up into a usable circle space that's there now. And it's going to reduce the overall size of that pad. Same thing will happen on the original pad where Old School is at. Let's see, Earth Rabbit's base is 7 foot 2 inches by 6 foot 4 inches. And that is 26 inches wider and 4 inches deeper than the unpaved circle that Old School was sitting in. So again, we're going to have to move Old School out and then take all those bricks away, pour a new footing for Earth Rabbit to sit on. I'm not sure what the weight is on Earth Rabbit, so I'm not sure if that footing would need to be designed and engineered by someone more engineering background than me. When we did the Barbary sculpture, we paid about $1,000 to have an engineering firm design that footing, and then we had to pour the concrete. Then we'll fly Old School back in with another crane, set it in place. We'll have to hire a bricklayer to relay all those bricks down there. So some of that work we can do in-house between Public Works. You know, they can form and frame and pour concrete. Parks can cap the electric that's currently under Old School that sits right in the middle of that pad. Earth Rabbit would be set over the top of that, so we'd lose that light that is there for Old School now. I did notice the other day when I was down there that the lens on that light is broken, so we need to get that repaired one way or the other anyways. But between all those between hiring a crane and hiring a bricklayer, crane, I estimate, because we're gonna have it two different times, about $1,200 a day to have those come in. So that's about $2,500. Bricklayers are probably gonna be, I don't have a quote on it, but I'd estimate about $4,000 to $6,000 to have bricklayers come in and cut those bricks to put them back in and make them look right. Couple $100 here and there with electrical supplies and a couple $100 in concrete supplies plus staff labor to do those. So I estimated that total cost was going to run somewhere between $8,000 and a little less than $11,000 to move Old School and then put Earth Rabbit in there. And then I think both of those pads are going to be smaller than they should be for the size of those pieces. I think once you set those pieces in there, let me see if I don't know if I can share a picture with you, but they're both going to be quite a bit smaller. So that was my concern. To do all of that work, you're going to move those pad sizes or make those pads appear smaller, spend $10,000 some odd dollars on the infrastructure of it. It just,
Scott,
to
I
me,
have some.
I would be better off finding another home for Earth Rabbit that wouldn't entail having to also move Old School.
Do you have any ideas where another place would be available that would be less cheap, where all we have to do is just make a pad?
I think there are some spots around town. I'm a logistics type of guy. I'm not an artist. I'm not trying to dictate where we put this piece. It does look like a really cool piece.
But there'll be a significant cost to put it anywhere, right? From what you're saying, or at least because of its size. I mean, it's going to have some substantial support in the pad.
Possibly. I don't know I'm not sure what that sculpture is made out of or how much it weighs. But if it's a location, that there's no infrastructure there now, if it's going inside some sort of flower bed or a corner property or something like that around town, or we could easily get into it with a backhoe and to be able to dig it out and then that's free basically. Putting in the concrete is Public Works can do that for very low cost. It's really just the cost of the concrete, assuming that base doesn't need to be engineered by some engineering firm to determine how deep, how big to support the weight of that actual sculpture. But, we could, you could potentially do it for $500 to $1,500 with crane cost, depending on where it's going. How easy it is to get it from the trailer that it's sitting on to get here onto its pad, how far a distance that is. We don't own a crane, so we don't have a way to really pick that up very easily. That looks like a pretty tall sculpture, and I'm not sure that we can just put that on a set of forklifts and move it or anything like that. So I'd hate to damage it like that.
I found some photos that may help with the discussion. Do you all mind if I share screen?
No? Up ahead.
Let's see if this works. Well, it's going to my Zoom settings. I apologize. I'll work on that while you keep talking. Thank you.
I'm doing the old school way because I'm talking on my iPad and I don't have the documents on my iPad. But so this is old school, right?
Very effective, though.
So this is the pad that we're on where Old School is on right now, and Old School is inside that center circle. That heavy black line is basically the outline of where Earth Rabbit would sit, and that lighter dashed square box would be all of the bricks that we would need to pull out to then put in the new sculpture and the new supporting pad underneath it and such. So you can see how much larger that piece is going to be.
Yeah.
Then this is the old school pad that it would go to. Again, the interior circle is what's open right now. The heavy black line is the circumference of the base of old school. And then you can see again, the dotted line would be how much of the original brickwork we'd need to probably pull out. It's kind of an estimate, but how much of the original brickwork we need to pull out to be able to dig the footings in to secure old school.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
Old school.
That's what I call sharing a screen.
That's right. I need an overhead projector like in 3rd grade, the little clear plastic ones that we all used.
It seems like we really should find some other locations. It's so much cheaper.
Yeah, we need to find another location. And Don is working on some photos. Has anybody, while he's doing that, has anyone oh, here he comes.
Here we are. Okay.
That shows the overall view and what we had in mind. And it shows obviously the size of pads. Scott, you're right. They probably are a little undersized. This being the west pad that's open right now. And I'll see if I can, sorry to minimize you guys, but this shows the old school current pad. So yeah, Scott, this is what you mentioned with all the brick that has to be reworked on both sides. But the idea was that old school then moved to the west, and then this shows a good view of Earth Rabbit and how that would sit here. But yeah, there's a lot of foundation work, I suppose, and a lot of rework of the brick.
Where we've got the circle 10 on the west pad, I mean, it's just a circle, but that in its open space, that might be good for the rabbit, because then it would kind of counteract the balance of the bird that we've got on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you wouldn't have to do anything but just make a pad.
Yeah, but when we were looking at it, as I recall, there with the trees and wires, we had real concerns whether, isn't it 14 feet high, the Earth Rabbit?
Yes,
So that
yeah,
there might be some
it was the electric lines that we thought would interfere with the rabbit.
Ah,
I mean, to me, given the subject, it just seems like the rec center someplace would be ideal. Does anybody agree with that, or is that?
I agree.
I do.
yeah.
And
Me
I think the
too.
theme of it too, it's more fun and lighthearted, and it seems to fit, I think, the whole mood of the rec center better. That's just my opinion.
And also, if the sculpture going to be almost like putting all your eggs in one basket, you know, no pun intended, but where this would really show an expansion, and especially since the artist is the same and the artwork, you know, is the same material, I would like seeing it out, you know,
Somewhere.
establishing new ground for the sculpt for the artwork.
To me, the space of the rec center is so large with
Yeah.
the fields and the building that with the size of it, it doesn't dominate the space like it would in a lot of places. It would just fit right in, you know.
Right. Well, it could be seen from afar, but you could also get up close to it. And that's the thing. To me, Earth Rabbit didn't seem an ideal place where people could just drive by or look from a distance, particularly given the mosaic work. So the rec center is just that kind of place where people are driving in, driving by, would see it, but people going to the rec center could also, you know, and we do have the Brother Mel pieces over there already.
And so many kids at the rec center who can play and sit in the little hole and do what they, you know.
What area was proposed at the rec center? There's
Yeah.
multiple sites, I guess.
And
Scott?
is it even possible to do something there? I mean, is there?
Yeah, that's the next question.
I think a good site at the rec center would be right in front of the pool. You know, there's a circular drive that goes up to the entrance of the pool.
Yeah.
There's a little median of grass right there, which is a pretty good size. Not little, it's a pretty good size.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parking bays inside that little median. And I think that could be a good location for it. It would be, there's really no infrastructure there. There's some plantings there now, but you know, it's nothing that's so special that we can't rearrange and move some of those plantings around. It's right adjacent to the roadway, so it would be an easy installation. There's no infrastructure there that I'm aware of right now that we couldn't, you know, dig easily and pour footing easily. So that would be one, and it's pretty highly visible. Everybody coming in and out of the pool, it's going to be right there to see. You know, there's some potentials from other corners around. Yeah, that's
That
fine.
sounds like a good spot.
Yeah, I'm loving this. So I think this sounds great.
I
Swinging a
moved-
little bit to the
we
right
did
there.
that.
So Scott, are you talking about where the flag is, or are you talking about where the kid with the blue baseball cap over here is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking right behind that kid with the blue baseball
Blue
bat.
baseball cap?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that'd be perfect.
Right there.
Oh, yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Kind of behind that tree right there.
So sort of centered in the middle where that tuft of whatever that's
Yep.
not grass in the middle is?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that could be a really popular site for it.
That'd be
Kids
awesome.
could jump in and play on it, climb on it, like you said. Good photo opportunity for us. I don't know which way you'd face it. You know, if you'd face it so that when they take the picture, they also get the aquatic center in the background.
That's
Would
what
kinda
I
be
was
cool.
thinking.
Be cool for me and give me free publicity.
That's
So-
better than cars.
Mhm.
I'd go along with that. That sounds like a solution.
I
Yeah.
do too. Is there any problem with the tree? Would we have to?
I
I
drove
think
through there
so.
yesterday. You just
It would
have to
be-
trim a little.
Uh-huh.
Right,
think
because it would
so.
actually sit between those two trees, so it could sit up
Yeah.
in the center.
Oh,
Um,
you're saying farther back there. Got it. I was looking closer here. Mhm.
No, I think sort of where that planting is in the
Right.
middle,
Yeah.
right?
Right, right. right.
Um,
Yeah, I
Did we
think
ask
fabulous.
Catherine which way to face it?
Yes,
Or
didn't she want to be very much involved in the
We
placement?
wanted to determine how to face it, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I think we have a solution.
I think that's a great
excited.
idea.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
You take a vote?
It should face towards the car because it's like a
So-
welcoming to the aquatic center.
So what do we do that? I mean, do we need to get a motion and second and vote to approve? Is that?
Couldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so can we have an official motion to place the Earth Rabbit with Catherine's guidance as to which way it's facing in this? I don't know how to verbalize where that is, directly in front of the.
This median, maybe,
Yeah.
right? Or
Grassy
Somebody wanna-
medium in front of aquatic center.
There we go. Does somebody
I
want to make?
still
that-
move.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
I think Judy did.
Judy? Okay.
Katie said it, I moved it.
Yeah.
Well, we were just trying to get the wording right so that it, 'cause, like, we're going to put it somewhere in front of the aquatic center.
Eh,
It seemed a little
I can make it
hazy.
work.
All right, so Scott, do we need to do anything else for you then? Are you? is that-
No, someone could share Catherine's contact information with me so I can maybe get a hold of her and find out what kind of base she thinks it needs or how much it weighs or something like that, so we can start looking into some logistics. I will start not surveying that site, but prepping that site, making sure I don't have any underground utilities or anything crazy like that there that I'm not aware of. But I don't know where every power line is buried on this property right now. But that's the big things. And then once we get those, then we can work out all the rest of the logistics of the move and getting it installed.
At the end of that, would that at all affect those parking spots?
No, it should not at all. We won't lose any parking.
Do
So,
you have some sense of a time frame, how long it would take to do?
Assuming that there's nothing underground there that we'd have to work around, you're talking about, and assuming we don't need an engineer to design the sculpture pad, digging the hole and framing it is one day. Pouring the concrete will be, a day. You're probably going to want to let that whatever concrete footing that we're pouring at least get out of that first 7-day window where it's pretty green. And then after that 7 days, it's hard enough to take whatever kind of weight you need to put on it. So 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that.
Scott, I'll get you all the contact information for the folks who are involved in this. Tonight, the council passes on the lease. So once we sign that lease, we can go and get those things picked up at any time. And I think they'd like us to get them out sooner than later. So 10 days is pretty good. There is a second piece, and we will talk about that also in a moment.
And I think we can store either of those pieces in the aquatic center so that we can drive them in there if we need to on the trailer.
Oh,
and
great.
Locked up, or we can store them at the public works yard. But there's probably less going on inside the aquatic center right now for it to get bumped or anything. So whenever we get it on a trailer, we can just drive it in there and then drop the trailer off and leave it until we're ready to get it installed. So if it takes longer than 10 days, we got a place for it to sit here on the property.
But we have it, and but we have it, so.
Possession. So yeah, Jerry, to your point about the other piece, is we're going to coordinate moving both of them at the same time?
I don't know yet, because once we sign that lease tonight, and then here's the deal, that second piece, which is called After Hours, is much bigger than Earth Rabbit. And it is a real testament to jazz in the civil rights era. And Webster University would love to display that piece. They've decided in front of Lohr Library, which would be perfect to have it on, there you go, nice. To have it on Lockwood. And so what we would do, we're going to sign the lease, and then the attorneys will figure out how to sublease it to Webster University. I think at our last meeting, we talked about that a little bit, and I hope you don't mind that I went ahead and talked to everybody about getting that to them.
But it becomes their problem then to put in the footing. I mean, that's not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That will be. That's all their problem. The insurance and everything will be their problem. Yeah. This will not be our problem. We'll have to figure out how to coordinate whether we're the ones who move it or they move it or whatever. All those things we're going to have to coordinate after tonight.
Okay. Cool.
Do we need to talk about lighting? For at least Earth Rabbit, or are there enough lights there that at night it would be visible?
That's what I was going to say, is presumably the lighting, because the parking lot down there is pretty well lit. I mean, presumably we wouldn't need additional lighting.
Yeah. Let me check real quick. I'm pulling up my map. Let's see, there is parking lot lighting there. Let's see. There is a parking lot light basically on both sides of that median. So it'll have some light on it, but it's obviously not going to be spotlit. There would be probably the easiest thing, if we want to spotlight it somehow, would be to install some lighting, probably actually on the aquatics building itself, where we already have electricity and stuff. And maybe from there we can shine a couple, 2 spotlights or something on. Well, that's going to depends on how you face it. That might be shining on the back of the piece, though.
Can
I'll have to look at that.
From any of the poles in the lot? Could you add? I don't have a good mental image of where they are, but could we add lights there, focus the other direction or something?
That is possible. I'll have to look into it. There might be another one that's kind of directly across the lot from it that might be able to take it. I'll have to. We just installed LED lights on all those poles this summer, so theoretically there should be enough power running to that pole. since previously it had metal halide lights, which took a lot more power than the LEDs do. So theoretically, we'd have enough electricity there to support another pole, but that's a pretty good distance. Let me see.
Yeah.
We're looking at about. I can't see my map. It's behind my iPad. Move my screen here. Measure distance. And we're looking at almost 100 foot away, so that would be a pretty far throw, but it's possible. They do some pretty cool things with some of those light fixtures nowadays. So I'll take a look at it and see what we can do, and I can report back to you guys on lighting.
Well, also in the subject of putting it actually in place, we'd probably want to put some sort of signage on it.
Yeah.
Don, I know this has been a personal bugbear of yours. Do we have other signage that do we have a signage order going here, or?
How are the Brother Mel labels holding up?
They aren't. We had a plaque on concrete that disappeared over the years.
No, it's actually in my closet.
Oh, but like I said,
You know where it went, I guess.
yeah,
I look at it every day when I walk in.
Should we start over on the signage down there?
yeah. Well, from the sculpture garden, I have not been impressed of how they've held up. We ordered through Fast Signs, I think, and it had a laminate, some sort of laminate finish on it that is kind of bubbled up, peeled, faded. So I think we need to look at other options that are longer lasting.
For this Earth Rabbit, maybe you could put a nice signage, a nice plaque and everything, inside the aquatic center under the entrance there.
Oh, that's a good, like on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And tell
bronze.
its history, give its
that's-
whole history, how it was at, Grand Center and how it did this and that. And, give it a little more of a impact.
But still, I mean, Catherine, a local artist, it would be nice
Right.
near the sculpture to identify at least the artist.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, bronze signs seem to hold up the best, as opposed to some of those printed and laminated type signs, unless you get the really expensive printed laminated signs. I'm trying to pull up my file right now from, because we put in one of the bronze signs in Barbary Park for all the donors, and I want to say that one only ran me about $400. Pulling up that old file right now.
And that's a pretty big sign.
And that was, it was
There's a lot.
20.
Yeah.
Barbary
This is just a 2-year loan though, right?
I have to look and see if we aimed for 3. I don't know whether we got 2 or 3 out of it. I think
I believe
we
it
were,
was 3 in the last agreement that I saw.
yeah.
Well, is this something that we would need to determine in advance, or can we move forward with putting the piece in place and then maybe we can do some exploration and find out maybe it's not worth setting it in bronze if it's just a 3-year loan, or
Yeah, right.
plan for the future and just say it's going to be ours once we have it. Don't put that in the minutes, Jennifer.
Please don't.
It is on the recording. I can do nothing about that.
Darn. But maybe we can decide after we get the thing situated, like how we want to, what that would entail to put signage and decent lighting, because we will want decent lighting on it.
But the signage issue especially for the sculpture park, it would be nice to kind of come up with a.
Well, no, that is true.
It's long lasting, so whether we.
For everything that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was wrong. It was $820 for the bronze sign that we put in at Barbary. And they were a little over $1,000 signs for the larger signs that had like the churches on it, or the Mr. Barbary, or the school. Those are printed, laminated, but they're pretty expensive, really heavy duty park signs. Those were a little over $1,000 for those. So, but the bronze sign would depend on how much text you're going to put on it, how big you want it to be. But,
Lauren.
Hey, Lauren. Hi.
Well, maybe we can get some numbers together and consider that going forward.
And would it be, I mean, if we were ordering like 6 of them or something, would we do better on the price, or does that not matter?
I don't think it'll be $800 for the ones like you got at the sculpture park. They're only what? They're less than 8 by 10. I think you're going to get those down to probably, those might come in at $400 some odd if you wanted to do it in bronze. But there's other ones out there too that we could look at. Those ones from Fast Signs, we put some of those up in parks too, and they seem to last 2-ish, 3-ish years, and then they start weathering and not looking so great. Especially those because they were lower down, so I think they get bumped with the mowers and string trimmed around and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Lauren, we've passed a motion to put Earth Rabbit in the, are you aware? Oh.
You're on mute.
I've been listening. I just didn't have my camera on yet. So
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
All right. Well, are we happy with that then? Scott, thank you so much for looking into all of that for us. And
You're mighty welcome.
we look forward to the arrival of the bunny.
Yeah, this is very exciting.
Very
Both
exciting.
sculptures.
We
wow.
really should have we need a photography crew on the scene, and,
Yeah.
you know, particularly since I'm sure you guys talked about this before I got here, but the piece in the Post-Dispatch last weekend that had the Catherine Mogul in the hidden places to go to relax. or no, was it in the, there was something about Catherine in the piece about what artists are doing in their spare time now as well, seems like.
I
All right.
didn't see that. That was in the Post-Dispatch?
Yeah, it was a picture of the bird. I mean,
Cool.
Right.
Nice.
from Webster Girl Scout.
Listen Go magazine.
Yeah, in fact, there it is.
Mm.
Very nice. Very nice. That's us.
Mhm.
Well, if everybody was flipping through the paper, did you all see the lovely picture of Vic? Marilyn,
Yeah.
did you see the lovely picture of Vic?
Yeah.
No, I missed that.
That was in
Yeah.
Go magazine. I think it was across the page from the bird.
It was like just Webster, because I think the next page was about Patrick Murphy publishing a book.
Yeah.
And Maryland's got one coming out.
And Maryland's got one coming out. So
Webster's the place to be.
it really is.
So we cited both Marilyn and Patrick in the Friday page. So
Oh,
all-
thank you.
Very nice.
You need to go look at last week's Friday page because
Oh,
Marilyn
I will.
and Patrick are both there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I make a suggestion that we have a committee that by the next meeting explores those bronze signs and how much they cost, and let's see if we can actually move forward on that, Katie. Can you just put a little committee together to do that?
Sure. Does anybody?
So that we don't drop this again.
I'll be on it. I'm keen on this. This is a priority for me.
Okay.
I'll help.
Okay. So John and Judy, do you want to look into, maybe Scott, do you have the name of the place that we used for the other park that you could forward?
I can. I've got Judy's email, so I can send her the spots that we used, that I used for Barbary or any other ones that we've used
Okay.
for our park signs. I'll send an email here today or
And
tomorrow.
Jennifer, if you have, I guess you placed the order from Fast Signs, is that what I was hearing? If
I've done at least one. Yeah.
so, maybe if you have that information so that
Mhm.
Judy and John have at least a couple of options.
Sizing.
Should we use the ones at the Sculpture Garden as an idea of how much
Oh, good point.
material, how much verbiage will be on each sign?
I mean, pretty much
Yeah.
we'll do a artist, title, date, right? Isn't that
Mhm.
I would think
Or would
so.
you say artist title and what was the third one?
date?
Did
the
we
date of
have
the sculpture.
gift?
I have a
of-
sample in my closet that I can.
You know,
lend you.
there are these,
Just go grab that one out of your closet, Jennifer.
Just take a
Geez.
photo and send it. That's good.
there's
Okay.
companies online that do your, address plates that are in bronze for a house.
Uh-huh.
They have a lot of options in those for different things. And I'm
Okay.
wondering if, they might have something similar to this.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what they look like.
No, good Lord. I haven't
That's
seen them
good.
in a while.
And it shows you the wear and tear on them too.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And so we're doing medium, and in the case of donors, of course, we have to do
Mhm.
donors.
Mhm.
So I suppose for Earth Rabbit, it'd be something like on loan from the whatever foundation or something.
We'll see.
It's probably what's
We'll
on.
figure it
Yeah,
out.
I think we've got the loans. The Trovas are on loan, so they might
Yeah.
say something similar.
So it's like a headline and 4 underlines should cover
Right.
everything. Okay.
Great.
Gang, I hate to say it, but I have another conflict that I'm going to jump off, but I feel good about our decision so far, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks all.
Don.
Hey, Don.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi.
Scott, I'll get you Catherine Moggle's contact information when we get off, okay?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yep. And Scott, you're more than welcome to stay with us, but I think if that's the end of the Earth Rabbit discussion, I don't know that you're obligated to stick around.
I appreciate the offer. I will let you all get to your business. And I'll do some of
Thanks,
mine.
Scott.
We don't take it personally.
That's what we don't.
Have a great day,
You could
everyone.
think
Thanks,
about it a
Scott.
little
Thanks,
longer.
Scott.
Scott, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, there he goes. That's perfect.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm sure he has nothing else to do with his day, right? Well, actually, I don't know. There's not a whole lot else on the agenda, I don't think. We do need, I think, to maybe have a discussion about a November meeting date.
Mhm.
Could I bring something up before we talk about the November? Oh, it's under miscellaneous update. Sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Well,
All right.
let's talk about this real fast. It's election day. That's the problem, is our next meeting is on election day, and I'm sure some of us are probably going to be standing in line for that. So do we need to meet in November? Probably, if we're talking about signage.
And Earth Rabbit being
Right,
up
right,
and
the
all that.
follow-up. And did
Can
we,
we-
what was, are we suspending lifetime achievement because we weren't doing something?
That's a very good point.
I think we had said that we were gonna tell him that we were gonna push it out. I think it's just kind of on hold right now while we kind of see what's going on. I mean, we said it wouldn't translate well into a virtual setting, and we can't all be together, so.
Well, maybe there
I
is
think that's our-
something else that translates in. I mean, Zoom can work, just the fact that the poet laureate died, or because we've done poetry, do some event, a virtual event that kind of keeps us, there. I don't know. To me, it seems, because frankly, we may have to forego a in-person event all of next year too. I mean, we don't really know. So just a thought. I just hate to, I find Zoom works on some things, and it does sustain community in a way.
At SB collaboration, those meetings were perfect. It seemed like you could do something like that.
What's
Just
that?
have the, the recipient.
Big development, yeah, the development meetings, SG.
And the mayor could be together, to receive the award someplace. And then everything else could be virtual with, let's say, the commission members pictured, and anybody else that comes along would be, just joining in.
I think we should wait. Wait till we can finally have it virtual.
Well, I'm
I'm
not
certainly
necessarily
amenable to trying something virtual, but I think if, right now, I think through the end of the year is tight and isn't gonna work for,
I'd wait because
I have meetings every night.
Yeah.
Everybody's
No, I'm-
together.
Yeah, but maybe next meeting, which I think we should have a November meeting, come with some ideas, because like I said, I think this is going to be, it could be another year. And
Yeah.
it's a shame for us to be, actually Earth Rabbit may be the opportunity to do something. I don't know. But anyway, just.
And I'm not saying it wouldn't be easy or how to do it or anything, but there is something to say that, we can go past this and do something, to keep the commission and keeps art going even through this chaos that we're going through. There's a way around that. And if it's not perfection, then it still is a way around it. And we've made that, that award. And
I kind of like that idea. It keeps us from doing very little, and I think a good example is that as those SG meetings. I mean, you got the sense that they were in a place, and I don't know how many people joined in, but I was constantly running into people in Webster who attended it. So I imagine that there were, Jerry, do you know, were there some hundreds of people who joined that if we promoted it in the right way? And,
Yeah, but that's people who have an opinion, and everybody in Webster has an opinion. I don't know that we're going to get 100 people for an awards ceremony. I mean, not that we expect to, but I'm not sure that development planning equates to any kind of arts recognition.
yeah, it would be more probably, and I'm not all for it. I'm just talking, but it would, and it wouldn't be the year that you would want to be nominated, It would be more in the spirit of doing something rather than nothing,
Actually, I did have an idea that floated through my inbox from Dave Buck, and I would have to give him credit for this, of an art walk that,
Thank you. That's what I wanted to talk about, Katie. Go.
well, this is, as I said, this is Dave Buck's idea, so, it's a very broad outline, but the idea would be to put together, kind of like we do with the historical walks and things, something that highlighted some of the art in the area and just put it out there for people, not as a single event at a single time, but something that people could, I guess, go on the city website and look up a map kind of thing and go visit places.
Maybe we could work with Dave on that, and he could do, right? It seems like he's already got a lot of work.
Yeah, I think his thought was it would be the commission and Webster Arts working together. Because I know Webster Arts is trying now to put together an art exhibition that would be on banners in the lawn at Eden at the big green space. And I'm not 100% sure how that's coming. It's technically, I think, supposed to open in 2 weeks. I'm not sure that it's going to.
It's only supposed to be up for a week.
Yeah, but the idea would be to feature some of the art that's in our community.
We once had a bookmark that listed all the arts in Webster. Remember, a long time ago? I think at the beginning of the Arts Commission, Jerry, you put it together. That's a beginning of just a list. And it would be really nice to do that again of what the arts are in in Webster, that people can walk around the whole perimeter of everything, not just Lockwood and wherever else.
Yeah.
I think this would be a really cool project for us to do because we've put in a lot of public art. We do have the sculpture garden. We've got Backflip. We'll have art at the recreation complex. We have arts related businesses here that we can direct people to. We've got Marilyn's mural on the side of Schnarr's Harbor. I mean, there are a lot of things here that we could put together an art walk that would be similar to these community neighborhood walks. I think it would be kind of a cool thing.
I think this should be our next like big project.
Great project.
Yeah. First thing to do is compile a list. I mean, and certainly there are enough people just on this Zoom who are involved with Webster Arts as well that we can certainly explore some way of collaborating with that. And actually, Dave is Dan or Dave Puck has had a couple of really hit ideas lately with his Porch Fest, and we can certainly get his input. And I think it's a great idea. I think it should be our next project. I think it's really doable.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if a place to start would be, I know, Jerry, when we were putting together the economic impact statement, we had a list that was mostly businesses and not-for-profits. Could we start with that, just sent out to everybody, and everybody can maybe think about where there's art and add it to the list or?
We have something already on the
We already-
website, don't we, Jen? There's a whole,
Under Explore, probably. I think it
Under
hasn't been
Explore.
updated in a while.
take a look at that because we put that together maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it has
Yeah,
our
it hasn't been
arts
updated.
pieces on it and some of our arts businesses.
That's what I
And
remember.
that could be a really good starting point.
Well,
And I have a
and-
lot of stuff. So.
Is it, what I was thinking is if we could have some sort of a document that we could circulate through this commission so everybody could add, to Patrick's point, I mean, obviously where you need to start with this is to get a base of what we're presenting. Do we have a Excel file or Google Doc?
Are you asking for a Google Doc or something that we can all?
Something like that, or an Excel file that people could add onto?
I
an-
have it probably in Word.
Yeah, you
I'll
do
see
have
what
it in
would be
Word.
great.
No,
Yeah.
this is
That
way
way
above.
If everybody could add things on and maybe send them to either, I don't know, me or Jerry or Jennifer, I hate to put that on you. We could collate everybody's
to give-
responses and come up with a single list just as a starting point, and then.
No, I think that's a good idea. I think this is, I think it's the logical first step. I think, maybe I'm going too far here, but is it possible in addition to a walking tour where you actually walk, that it would be possible to put some sort of a virtual tour together as well, where you could online with the help of like either Google Earth or whatever, you could go to some place, see pictures of it, maybe even three-dimensional, like through, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but and then an explanation of what it is and how long it's been there and what artists did it or why it's important. I mean, if we could work with somebody who knew how to do that, that would be pretty cool, particularly for older people or in the dead of winter. You know, you could go on a little virtual art tour.
Mhm.
Ah,
I mean, you could, even with a cell phone, I mean, if you're steady.
Or any computer that you have, you know, or you could walk and do the virtual tour at the same time. So like
That sounds
like,
dangerous.
like at the art museum.
Right.
Standing
Kind of
in
people
Have
fall into
people falling
water
over.
front of the Mona Lisa,
Could
right, and
also
looking
have
at your
a
phone.
brochure that would be part of the, our walking tour thing, but this would be the art walk. We've got 7 walking tours right now. This would be the 8th as an art walk all over the city.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great idea.
I do too.
John,
I love it.
you don't know any Steadicam operators. That would
Well,
be,
there's a young, my neighbor's son is a videographer.
Ah, there we
And,
go.
He worked with the, I guess the chamber last year and put together some stuff for them, you know, for the holiday, all the holiday stuff in Webster. So, you know, he's very inexpensive and I could, you know, get him to tell us, I would tell him some of the stuff we've mentioned and see if that's in his, you know, he doesn't have all the equipment, but he can rent the equipment. He's got the skills. He graduated a couple years ago from Webster.
But I know
Let's
that
hold
the
off on the videographer hiring.
Till
and put together like the original tour, and then we can like issue a virtual one later, just because.
No, I meant as we
Again,
went
we have
down
no
the
budget.
line. I don't know if he could, the 3D thing, I don't know about that, you know, I'm sure it's done, you know, everybody does it today, realtors and everybody, so I don't think it's that big of a deal, but.
I mean, even if it were only like a photo, a still, you know, of the site, I mean, that would be even a good start. Yeah. So where do we?
Yeah, but I could see as if when you went on Google, for instance, map, and you went to an area, then it would click into, you approach that, you know, like the bird. You get a little trip around it and then you go on to another sculpture.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it. If you go to the website, and you can all use that as a beginning. Under the Explore, there is the Explore
I'll just
the
send them a
Art.
link. I'll
arts
send
and
you all a
webs-
link to it.
But here's what's here: performing arts, galleries, arts education and instruction, dance, festivals and events, awards of excellence, public sculptures, paintings and drawings. Everything's here. Take it and see what needs to be updated. We spent a lot of time working on this thing, so everything is here. pretty cool, actually. I
Yeah.
forgot that we did this.
And I guess, does somebody want to spearhead? I mean, we need to have a place for people to send.
Send it to me. I'll be happy to
Send it to
do that.
Jerry. She doesn't have
Yeah.
anything else to do either.
I don't have anything else to do now. I'm trying to take work off of Jen. She's the one who's been working like,
And I'm sort of assuming that we probably don't want to form a subcommittee for this because I think everybody
Yeah.
probably wants to be involved. So maybe we'll.
yes, let's just,
Excuse me,
I think I did this originally. It's probably on my computer somewhere.
It's on mine, definitely, because I know I updated
Yeah,
it.
I
to put
think,
on the thing.
I'm sure I did this originally. So,
Okay.
Are we supposed to just send sculptures that we've seen around town? I mean, isn't there?
no, you're gonna get a list, all right? And what you're gonna do is take a look at that list and see what's missing,
Okay.
okay? Or what you can add to it. I think Marilyn's mosaic or Marilyn's mural is missing here,
I'm sure it hasn't been updated since whenever we did it.
which is a while.
So
Well, we'll have to add Earth Rabbit here in just a minute.
Mhm.
I think we have to add plenty.
All right, well, everybody take a look at that and get additions to Jerry, and then maybe, I don't know, I guess, do we want to do this in November? I guess what I'm hearing is probably we'll just meet on election day anyway? Or,
I think we should meet a different day. I have available, you could do Monday, you could do Wednesday, Thursday or Friday, and then the next week I've got days available too. So.
does anybody have an opinion?
The week after the election.
Yeah,
we
we
can-
can say the 10th.
I don't have the 10th. I have the 9th, 11th, or
Oh,
12th.
you don't have the 10th, huh?
The 9th? That's the Monday after the
Yeah.
election? Can
I
we?
do have the 9th.
I
we-
vote on the 9th.
I don't think I'm available on the 9th, if that matters.
The 11th, Veterans Day?
I do have the 11th. I just sent you all a link to that document too. So
So,
benefits of being at my computer.
so I'm
what-
not,
Would it be an 8 o'clock meeting on the 11th?
I mean, that would be my thought.
Okay, I just have a 9 o'clock, but probably will be done in an hour, or I'll leave.
Yeah.
would there be a better day for it? I mean, thanks to COVID, I'm surprisingly open. So you do want to just do the 11th and we'll
Sounds good.
Yeah.
make it work?
Okay.
Okay.
8 a.m., 11:11.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
And we will,
What kind of
At that
state
point-
will be after the election, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's all pending.
Okay, we'll all be celebrating.
I may have
We
moved to
hope.
Canada by then.
I want to point out to everyone that we're being recorded. So just take it as
We're-
read and move on, right? At that meeting, then we will talk about the signage. We'll have a decision to make about signage. Maybe we'll have some updates on lighting at that point, and then we can definitely talk about how to put together this walking tour. Hopefully, that will still give us enough nice weather that people who wanted to walk would actually feel like walking. I mean, we can get this out in a
Great.
timely.
And if you think of like an easy way to do something virtual that goes along with it, you know, photos or whatever, please bring those. But yeah,
This could also be a student project for someone from Webster University. Those kids love to do something like this, which would be really cost-free. So it's something to think about.
I was
too.
actually thinking, even about students at the high school until they're back in person. I mean, I see so many school kids out, I guess they're doing homework projects. They've got clipboards and they're running around in the street counting things. And if you could have you know, if you could have this as a class project for high school students who needed
Yeah.
something, they could get the footage.
This
You
would
know,
also be a good one for just Dave Buck to give him something to do because he's got so many ideas.
He's an
doesn't-
idea guy. He passes them
idea
on.
guy. It's an idea guy, but this is a good idea. So let's roll with it. Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up?
I wanted to
Yes,
check
Lauren.
out, ask you about, remember when we were talking about the murals, and then the last time we talked, that I remember, is we talked about, it was dealing with the railroad. And that was and so now then COVID came, and so I just wondered if was there anything about that we can do? Regards to murals. So right now we have Maryland's.
Well, we actually had approval, didn't we, to move forward?
With the railroad, yeah.
The
We
railroad
did?
grid?
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
But I don't even know with the
Yeah.
COVID regulations what that looks like. Do we have an official opinion on that, or?
Yeah, it just dawned on me because we're talking about the art in Webster, and I was just thinking about the murals again. And
Jennifer, do you have it in your notes in the past? I think we did.
I mean, I probably do. I think probably a lot of the stuff that wasn't immediate has been pushed aside. So
I think it was.
I have to
had
see
do with
where it gets.
cost. It was depending on, it was too expensive to put up those panels. And then it would have to be, I don't know, we were just gonna do the sides, I thought, instead of the bridge.
I think we still need to move forward with talking to the railroad though, right?
Railroad,
Yeah.
yes.
The trestle is really in bad shape.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Paint wise, it's horrible.
But
It
there
is
were
hard.
other places too that we remember we took pictures just around Webster. I wondered if, while we're waiting for the railroad, we should think about some place that might be easier to get a mural, in town.
No, it's not a bad idea. Do we want to?
I don't know how to pick that one up and
Move forward with it.
What
We have a
about
list, right?
the city council had, what, Blossom, didn't she have a committee? It was a-
Bliss,
and I don't know
Bliss.
what happened with that.
I know we had all those, we took pictures of, certain areas just on the main drag of even Lockwood. So I think we talked about that, or even over Old Orchard over by Frisco, or maybe.
I have a feeling we're going to run into a really, really big wall on budgets there, though. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about the city, because I mean, Jerry, I don't know, you can speak maybe more than I
we know about the city.
budget, but I'm not sure that we're going to be able to take on new mural projects.
Probably right.
Yeah, we're all just watching the budget like crazy. And I think, every time we start on this mural, we seem to hit a wall. I mean, Marilyn had
No
that
pun
great
intended.
idea about doing the books on the side of that, of the Webster bookstore.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, so many of the owners of these buildings have said, no,
Yeah, it seems like
So-
anything that's in the old Webster, well, Dan Warner owns, he doesn't want anything on his walls. So that takes care of most of that, because there's some really neat places, like even in the alleys, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
I think we should just pretend and let this year go by and wait till realism comes back.
yeah, money comes back, whatever comes back.
Fingers crossed. All right. Lauren, were you going to say?
I was just thinking about the whole art walk project, and it sounds wonderful, and I think it's a great idea, but I'm also thinking that with COVID, the bicycle industry has taken off so much. If we could team up with the Hub and do a bike tour of art also, I mean, people could do it by bicycle or walking. I just think we could, maybe advertise it in the window at the hub as well.
Mhm.
So it's
Sounds
just in addition to what we were talking about.
I like it.
Well, actually, we have the whole Gateway Greening Trail now that comes up into Webster and then goes from here across. I mean, you go to Maplewood and then you can hit Deer Creek and connect into the, I think once we have some idea of our, what our art places here that we would like to highlight, I think we could maybe see about connecting with some of these other communities and have a pretty extensive art network, a bike art network down the bike trails.
That's a neat idea.
So yeah, I think that's definitely something to take off from that walking tour. That'd be a
The
great-
grand tour.
The grand tour, yeah, do the whole.
That's cool. That's a great idea.
Really
It's a great idea, Laura.
The art bike tour.
Yeah, that's very
We
smart.
might
Well,
want
this
to come
is-
up with a catchier
did-
name.
The Sustainability Commission would love it too, because they're always looking for doing some sort of bike
Right.
tour thing.
Um,
And the art bike tour,
Yeah.
bike art tour,
Bike art. We got to come up with something better than that, though. Bike art.
bike art tour. I don't know.
Think about that. All right, anything else anybody would like to bring up? Are we? Everybody happy?
No. Hey,
Thanks,
think it's
Katie.
A huge successful meeting because of Earth Rabbit. I think we've got.
Yes, and
fun
thank
on
you,
campus.
Jerry, for, oh my goodness, tracking that rabbit for 2 years now.
Yes, yes, great.
I love that.
And when Neil Bruntrager, our city attorney, called and said, you know, they're willing to give you the second piece. Do you want it? And it was like, yeah, take it.
Yeah. Yes,
Well, that's
please.
almost the best of the three. I can't wait till that's on view. That is
Yeah.
fabulous.
I'm imagining you following like giant Easter rabbit feet.
Somehow there's a lot of Elmer Fudd involved in that.
You know.
But when
Be
we're
very
not
quiet.
anymore in COVID, it sounds like we ought to institute the annual Easter egg hunt at the rec center.
Yes, or
You know what, the
everybody bring baskets and just put them around it.
eggs are in the sculpture park. So
Yeah.
Oh man.
maybe that's your bike trip, is to go from the rabbit to the eggs.
Thanks. Oh, this will be fun.
All right. All
Really,
right. Well, if there's no other anything,
I was just going to say it's really nice to have something positive. Like,
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Really, really nice.
it is. It
Yeah,
is.
we
And I
all
think a
need
lot of-
that.
I think a lot of people are feeling that way. So I do think any kind of, I was so happy to see the Webster Kirkwood Times come out, just because
So nice.
it just, yeah, it makes the community feel warmer somehow. So
And a little
I have
bit
one
of-
other question to ask that is not really related, but maybe talking about community. And now Halloween is coming. And does Webster have some sort of, what are we doing? Is everybody just do what we usually do? There's decorations, but are the kids gonna do trick or treating or?
You know,
It's
we
not-
get people who call us every year who ask, like, you know, if it's on during the week, if we're doing it on a weekend or whatever. We don't really have any sort of guidelines for that. I think a lot of people are just, I don't know. Jerry,
I
what do you
meant
think they're
because
doing?
of
What are you
COVID.
planning?
I meant because.
Yeah, no, I know,
And
I
it's
know,
not
yeah.
really art related for our
No,
commission,
but I
but I-
understand the question because we
but
get it all the
being-
time.
still being just 3 years here in Webster, I'm just like, is there any,
What should you prepare for?
Well, there's.
Mayor, what do you think you're doing? Because I know
guidelines.
you've usually got a lot of.
are you gonna, can we put mask on the trick, I mean, how do you do this with, I
Well,
mean, I think,
the CDC recommended not handing out candy at the door, but setting up a table with individual bags that kids could pick up at the end of your driveway or
Good idea.
something like that.
We've had the house and, house and businesses do decorations for the holidays. We could do the same thing with Halloween. Whoever will drive around town just to see how people have put stuff in their yards.
yeah, they.
I don't think you have to encourage that. Our
They're
neighborhood
really,
is like
yeah,
one
they're-
solid
no, I don't
cemetery
think
right now.
They're
I think this
everywhere.
year is more than other years.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
wow.
And the stuff hanging in the trees. I'm like, what are you doing?
I know.
There are going to be some very frightened children if they do go out.
I was out walking my dog before dawn the other morning and I didn't realize that my neighbor had hung, I don't even know what this thing is, in their tree. And I leaned over to clean up after my dog. And when I came up, there was this thing.
I know. And then there's tombstones in people's yards, and some of them and very interesting sayings on the tombstone.
I am not a huge fan of Halloween.
Yeah.
Not my holiday.
I bought a dollhouse on Facebook Marketplace and I'm making it a haunted mansion.
Oh, there you go.
There's a house on Maple right near my house, and they put the whole front of their house is like a cemetery entrance.
Yeah.
Did you see that one? With the two pillars and the skulls and all of the tombstones on the inside. I went by and I thought, I never have noticed that wall there before.
What is this?
It's got an iron, well, it's all fake. I mean, it's an iron fence and big gray stone with skulls on them. And
Yes.
yeah.
Well,
way
and the
more than
ones that
Christmas.
have the various body parts coming up that are completely not like anatomically related to each other.
That's why I want to know, are they going to
At
stand
least put the legs on the right way.
I mean, I've seen spider skeletons, which we all know spiders don't have that kind of skeleton. So yeah, reality is not really
I
happening.
think they wear those on the outside, don't they?
Yes.
Reality.
It's not science-based Halloween, is it?
No.
Boy, have we missed each other.
Yeah.
You know, we have really missed each other. This is great.
Everybody.
Well, it's been good.